Back to our television ministry and video time. I am so glad that you're with us on today. This is Pastor Charles Jefferson of Goodness and Mercy Ministry Church in Chesapeake, Virginia. Thank you for tuning back in to our television time and ministry. All right. Now remember, I was talking to you last video about the purpose of our church, that we're going to have ministers with assignments to social concerns of the city and neighborhood. Well, I like to call this video, as we continue, called Trickle Down Economies. Trickle Down Economies, okay? I want you to repeat that again and say Trickle Down Economies. Parable, prophecy. Trickle Down Economies. Well, Trickle Down Economies mean when is a policy in the United States, which means it's a belief that if you give tax breaks, remember, and other economic benefits, if you provide it to the upper levels, meaning business or wealthy people or even investors, that it will eventually benefit the poorer members. Now, remember that. That's trickle down. In other words, you give to the top, it trickles down to everybody else. Some people say it's a supply situation too. And so they say that President Reaganomics had a little bit of that in it. That's up for debate. But here's the part I'm trying to get you to see. The Lord told me a long time ago as a pastor that I'm going to be a Christian business executive. And I thought that the Lord meant just the natural CEO, owning my own business. But he meant two ways. He meant that, but he meant prophetic. And I said, God, what do you mean by prophetic? The Lord told me that as I pastor, a lot of guilty religions and churches and people and individuals are going to make merchandise of the people. They're going to use merchandising business setup and make church marketing about not helping people, but turning them into merchandise just to get their money. Like the scripture says in Peter, they make merchandise of men. So the Lord told me to study titles of marketing, economics, write them down, put them on the video, and relate them to traps from religion and traps from bound up organized churches. Okay? And that's why we bring these parables to you. So I want you to know, are you being involved in a ministry that's more like a trickle down economy setup? Thinking that if you just give to big time ministers with success, ministers that got it going on, that it'll trickle down to you. They don't mention repenting. They don't mention how you got to be a servant. They just keep telling you if you sow a seed to me, the successful preacher, not me, I'm saying this is what they're saying, you'll get a supernatural debt cancellation and a supernatural this, that, and the other. See, that's like trickle down economics. No repenting messages, no messages about living holy, suffering. It's about give to us and it'll trickle down. Ladies and gentlemen, that's like a trickle down economy or trickle down theory. And your finances may be hurt because yes, you are giving in seed and tithing, but why hasn't it trickled down to you? I know you're too nervous to ask. I'll ask for you. Because you may be given to a business theory that's run in the church called trickle down economies. And you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you're giving right to the Lord. They always promise you that struggle ends when you give. Ladies and gentlemen, as long as the devil's alive, struggle will not end. You may get out of one thing by giving, but struggles will be here because you're a fighter against the devil. I'm not trying to put you in the poor cat or trying to keep you from being wealthy through this teaching. I'm just telling you reality. Struggle's not going to end when you give. Ladies and gentlemen, can I tell you why I speak that bold? Don't let them make you forget this one principle. Just in case you think I'm preaching discouragement on you. Remember this one principle, ladies and gentlemen. I know you forgot it because they're teaching all this wealth. Remember one thing. The more stronger you are in the Lord, the devil's going to fight you more. And sowing the seed doesn't chase away that. God allows the devil to fight you more when you grow older in God. If you think that sowing seed is going to take struggle away, you're wrong. God allows the devil to fight us more when we grow older. Why? Because that's the way it's supposed to be. We are fighters against the enemy. You understand? So they're telling you to call out possession. Now, remember when I told you that we give our ministers assignments? Let me run some more specifics by you, okay? As I stated, at Goodness and Mercy, the church that I pastor, we're going to give our ministers, they'll be preaching God, they'll be preaching Jesus, but we're going to give them social assignments, situations in the city. Like, for instance, one of our assignments, above many, is we're going to give the assignment to a minister that the Lord tells us to do, give them the assignment to deal with how cops are shooting poor blacks and poor whites unarmed. You know the situations in the news that have been happening. Why isn't the prophet speaking about that? You see, church wants us just to say debt release for us. Want us just to pay a seed so we can have a happy life. That's all church is about now. Sow a seed so you. How come they don't say sow a seed so we can have power to deal with the inner city and the area of shooting unarmed black men? Why don't they have that? Why aren't the prophets saying anything about that? Why aren't the prophets saying anything about that? All it is like a Christian beauty school. Sow a seed, saints. You're going to have a good life. Nothing's going to happen to you. You're going to get a good life. How come the prophets ain't speaking about the unarmed tragedy of cops? The bad cops. Not all cops are bad. Just the bad cops. The bad cops that are shooting all cops are not bad, just the bad cops that are shooting unarmed black men or poor men. How come, where's the prophets? How come they ain't saying nothing about that? All they want to do is speak about possessing wealth. This is nothing but trickle down economies. And then you got in church, they got you sowing seed for supernatural debt cancellation. Supernatural. Why aren't they speaking against you? And one thing we're going to do with our ministers is give them the assignment to pray, fast, study, research, satanic ritual abuse. Why aren't your prophets speaking about that, ladies and gentlemen? Why is it always sow a seed for our good life? You see what I'm saying? I'm taking my time for a reason. Have you noticed, ladies and gentlemen? Why don't we have prophets? I want to ask you. Why don't we have prophets educating us against satanic ritual abuse? They just want to talk about sowing the seeds so you can have no more bad life. You can have good dreams. And ladies and gentlemen, this is humanism. This is heathenism. The prophets are supposed to be revealing to you the traps of satanic ritual abuse. Some of our kids are watching child pornography. Why aren't the prophets speaking about that? Why is it always we get a good life? Debt cancellation. You should know God told you that he has your need before you ask him. But yet they want to speak about debt cancellation.